Hi, welcome back. I'm glad you decided to join me for the second video here in IDS 4100, which is conflicts in the workplace or conflict resolution in the workplace. And so in today's clip, I'm going to talk about a couple of other terms that as we move forward in your chapters that you're going to be introduced to, and I just want to clarify those and make sure that you have a good understanding of what those are. So let's get started. So one of the things that we're going to be talking about and is going to be gone over in these next couple of chapters and in these next couple of assignments is the approach that we're taking when we're dealing with the conflicts. And one of those approaches is the power-based approach. Now this is one that you're pretty familiar with. The power-based approach is a situation in which one party has power over another party. And so they're using their power in which to try to resolve the conflict. So this is pretty simple. My boss has power over me, so he sets up the schedule, or he gives promotions, or he gives raises. They have the power, and they can control the conflict by dictating what's going to happen with that power. So a power-based conflict, somebody has power over the situation, and they're going to use their power in which to reach that resolution. Different from that is going to be a right-based approach. And in this situation, parties are going to be dependent on rules, regulations, laws, or some governing body, governing thing that they're going to say, I have the right to this because of this. This rule, this sanction, this law says that I'm allowed to do these things for this reason, and I'm going to assert that power in order to deal with the conflict. So this needs to be resolved according to these rules that I'm going to bring forward. And the third one is going to be an interest-based approach. And in the interest-based approach, what you're going to see is that both parties are very committed and working very hard to try to find out what is the interest of the other party. And so their approach to the conflict is, what do I think this other party wants out of the deal, and what can I do in order to meet a resolution that is keeping in mind what they need and what I need. So in the interest-based approach, we're going to look at it much more of a collaborative approach, which is one of the things that we talked about in the last video. So one of the things that we often may strive for, depending on the situation, would be that collaborative approach. And in a situation like that, an example might be something like mediation, where they're coming together to try to find a solution that everybody is okay with. Something else that we're going to look at in these next couple chapters are negotiation styles. And one of those that they refer to is the distributive negotiation style. And what you see in this distributive negotiation style is when you come in to negotiate and we feel like there's a very limited amount of the resource. So there's only so many things, and I want as many of those things as I can possibly get from the very beginning because they might disappear. So as I come to the negotiating table, or when I come to the proverbial table, it's not necessarily a real table, but when I come in to negotiate, I have to gather as much money, as much resources, as much time, whatever it is that I'm looking for, I have to get as much of it as I possibly can from the very beginning, because I don't believe that I will have an easy time of getting those things in the future. So that's distributive. I want to get the most distribution to myself, for myself. The opposite, not the opposite, but another way in which we can deal with negotiation is in integrative style. And in the integrative style, again, we're looking again more at that collaborative type of approach. And this is when what we need to do is, again, look at our needs and the other party's needs, and then try to come up with a solution that is okay and meets in the middle. So we don't necessarily need to grab everything. There's these certain things that I want, and so we're going to integrate that. You can have this, and I can have this, and this is how we're going to meet in a happy medium. So two very different styles in which we might go into a negotiation. And last but not least, I wanted to address the channels of communication. For those of you who have already taken the communications course, we have already discussed these. And for those of you who haven't, then it will be reviewed for you when you do take them. So there's many of these concepts that were in the core classes are coming up a couple of different times. And again, one of those is going to be communication. So it's not just what we say or the approach we take, but how are we communicating that information? And there's primarily three channels that we're going to look at. There is the nonverbal channel. That's how we dress. That's how our facial expressions. That's the presentation, the environment, those type of things. So what is it that we're bringing forward when we see that person? What do they appear? What's the feeling I get from them? That nonverbal approach, the rolling of the eyes, hand motions, those kind of things. Another one is going to be the verbal. That's the word. That's actually where we get the least amount of our information from, although we may get the most words and information, the technical information. We're gathering information through all three channels at the same time. So the words themselves are only a small part of what's actually communicated. So the verbal channel, the words that are said. And then the third one is the paraverbal channel. And that's really not just the words, but how it was said. I'm sure you've all, that's the old saying where somebody goes, I'm all right, or I'm all right. You know what I mean? There's a difference when somebody says they're all right and you should probably be nervous, or when somebody says they're all right and you shouldn't. Oh, it's nothing. Well, I listen to the tone when they say it's nothing to determine if it's nothing or not. So quite often we're listening to not just the words, but the tone, and certainly the facial expressions, the body language, all those things that come with it. So all of those are going to be incorporated in what we're perceiving through those channels. And so we're taking those channels into communication. We're coming in with a particular approach or a particular style of what we're going to try to go through, and we're going to have that negotiation idea of how we're going to get our conflict addressed. So those are three of the terms that you're going to see in these upcoming chapters, and three of the things that we are focusing on in some of those assignments. So I wanted to take a minute, try to clarify them for you. Hopefully I have been helpful. If you have any questions at all, be sure to reach out to your instructor. Enjoy class.